Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sandlot Talks. It is just me today, and we are going to be discussing some more wrestling, because it is a big week of wrestling, especially if you're in the California area, as AEW was today's Friday. 2 days ago, AEW Dynamite was in California. Tonight is a special episode of Collision that will also be in LA at the Kia Forum, along with an episode of Rampage. And then tomorrow, what we will be discussing here today is predictions for AEW Full Gear. Again, at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, California. A very big week for wrestling in Southern California. Let me switch over to my live scene. Hello, everyone. I have my AEW background ready to go. Yeah. But before we get started, just double checking some stuff, having my notes ready. Before we get started, to those that do not know, on Sunday, 3 p.m., and I'm going to show on stream right now, right there, that this Sunday I will be doing my Five Nights at Freddy's movie review podcast. I have Sebi, I have Rocky, I have Waffles on. Again, that will be Sunday, November 19th at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There we go. Back over to here. Um, Now, again, before a little around the horn, I'd like to congratulate to both Ronald Acuna and Shohei Ohtani for winning the MVPs in their respective leagues. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I know Joe Burrow's out for the rest of the remainder of the season with a sprained wrist, which is very unfortunate, especially for a certain Psycho Cell who has him in fantasy. But yeah, we can go ahead and get started with some wrestling. I was actually at Dynamite on Wednesday. I had really nice seats. I had a good view. I think the only thing was the issue was like seeing a lot of the stuff, and like if they were to go outside of the ring and they would do moves right there, it was a little bit harder to see right there. That's what I figured. Because again, in the Toyota Arena, they have like a little projector above the ring in the center of the arena, or they could project it on the jumbotron and at their entrance, but they didn't. The only time that they actually did that was during the street fight that they did. I'm not going to say the entire name of the street fight because I'm going to constantly forget it. But when Jericho and Takeshita had went up into the crowd and they're in like the VIP lounge and stuff, they would actually project that what was going on there on the jumbotron at the entrance, but then they would keep cutting off to make sure that we're watching the action on what's going on in the ring, because I'm pretty sure that's how they were doing it on TV as well, which I didn't even get a chance to like actually rewatch the episode. But yeah, I actually had some fun. The episode could have been better, more on the pace of the show, because I figured they were going to end the show with the street fight, but they didn't. MJF ended the show, which I'm completely fine with, because again, he's the champion. But I figured something as big as this whole street fight sponsored by Sega because of the new guiding game that they're sponsored by. Figure that would have been the main event spot. But I'm cool with MJF and Jay White cutting like I believe it was like 10 minutes, like a 10-minute segment from the last time, because I was constantly like checking my phone, like, all right, how much time are they going to give us? Are they going to do something like when I had went to the SmackDown before Mania and they had Cody on, and Cody went on last, cut a little promo, and then Roman came out, only said, "Oh, acknowledge me," and then boom, end of the episode, and then we got to watch the Hall of Fame. But no, they had a little bit of a lengthy, not necessarily conversation, but they each cut a promo on each other in a way, which I did enjoy. But yeah, I thought the show was okay. Um, I do have video on my phone, and I was gonna say on Instagram too, but I think that disappeared and I forgot to save it. But the one thing I'm actually very disappointed in was the arena was very empty. Like, of course, on hard cam side, you're not gonna expect as many fans and stuff. And then they actually had tarps up on that side too. And then, of course, above that, there was no one there. My section was pretty full, and then where camera side is, like where people you see on TV, that was actually full for the majority part. There was like little patches of no one being there, and then of course above that, no one in there except for like one row like full of like five people. But like all other than that, it was very empty. And I was like to compare it to because I went to the Monday Night Raw show in the Toyota Arena, we completely sold out that place. Like there was no empty seats at all, and I was in the nosebleeds. I was literally at the top row for for that show, so I got to see pretty much everything. The only thing that I would say that was probably empty was more on the hard cam side, on the sides, where it was like a few like a seats that were fully, didn't have anyone there. But yeah, I was debating on going to Collision today, but after seeing like that they had to announce the card, and I was like, I could skip this. I didn't want to drive all the way to LA on a Friday because that's just like a horror show. But I mean, I'm going on Saturday, but it's worth it because it's a pay-per-view. So we can talk about the pay-per-view, AEW Full Gear, again in Los Angeles, California, at the Kia Forum. And then let me pull up my notes so I can go in the order that I want to go into. But yes, let's get started. First match on Zero Hour. Again, this isn't probably the official full card yet. There's 9 matches, including the one match on Zero Hour. I'm gonna assume Tony Khan might announce some last minute matches tonight on Collision and or Rampage on possibly some Zero Hour matches. But the for sure main match that everyone's going to keep their eye on during Zero Hour, again, it is free wrestling. If you watch it on YouTube or if they're streaming it on any of their other social media platforms, with Zero Hour is completely free. It's a pre-show, and you probably wouldn't want to miss this match because it is the Guns versus MGF and probably Samoa Joe. They keep teasing it's a mystery partner. I had like a lot of thinking that it could be even Roderick Strong. It made a little bit more sense to have Roderick Strong because it's like he's been trying his best to be friends with MGF, and then of course like he wants to, he's still Adam Cole's best friend. But I feel like it's gonna be Samoa Joe, and actually fine with seeing that because I love Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is a local guy, Southern California guy, so I can see him being there because again, they don't even have him listed on the main card for the pay-per-view. But I can see Samoa Joe filling in that spot, and they've been teasing that, like they had segments with like Adam Cole, like telling MJF, like you know what, maybe you should tag with Samoa Joe. Like it's like yeah, it's gonna hurt you just because you're gonna have to give him a world title match afterwards, but you got to keep these tag titles, because that's what you promised me when I got injured. But I'm gonna say Samoa Joe is the mystery partner, and again, it's just adding on to what he's already been feuding with Jay White and Bullet Club Gold. I think the Guns were kind of already on Ring of Honor before they got joined in with Bullet Club Gold to have them back on more AEW TV. So because my original thinking was that for Full Gear, of course, it's going to be MGF and Jay White, and then it was going to be the Guns and Juice Robinson going up against the Acclaimed because the Acclaimed have recently had shown that they want to be, Max's partner, MJF. But I am completely confident that I can see MJF and Samoa Joe probably winning this, and then right after Joe being more of a heel and like beating down on MJF is like, here, I helped you win the tag titles. I'm already done. I've done what I needed to do. Go on and try to win your match. and then I'll see you next time whenever you want to defend that title. Because I can see his next defense not being at World's End. I can see it happening before. But yeah, I'm gonna go with MGF and Samoa Joe. If you guys would like to know, I'm going up against Niners and Waffles. Oh, just a little backtrack. I my last predictions podcast was a WWE one, and I won, so I am double champion. I am the Sandlot Talks champion once again, and I am the All Elite Sandlot Talks champion because I am the current champion for the AEW predictions. So I am double champ. But so I'll be defending the All Elite Sandlot Talk championship against Niners and Waffles. And Niners is actually providing his answers to me on my notepad that I'm looking at so I can give you guys their answers too to make it official. Niners is going with the guns for this match. Waffles is also going with MGF and Samoa Joe. Alrighty. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for that match going in. So the next match is for the AEW Women's Championship of Hikaru Shida, the champion walking into Full Gear, versus Timeless Tony Storm. Now, the main story here is that Hikaru Shida would like defend her title during matches, would win, and would do like her raise the bells and everything, celebrate with the crowd, and then all of a sudden, you hear Tony Storm's music hit, and she's like trying to take away the spotlight from Sheeta because of her character that she's like the old school Hollywood blonde. Getting all the attention, and most of her segments are in black and white because she's timeless. I've been really enjoying this character that she's been doing as timeless Tony Storm. And again, we're in LA, Hollywood. I can see her having the title. I can see her beating Hikaru Shida. So that's why I'm going to go with Tony Storm winning this. And then they recently signed, I believe, Stardom. I can't remember her name, but like the segment that she's been doing, and she actually did a recent segment too, where she actually met up with Tony Storm, and she was like, "Oh, I'm a big fan," and kind of thing. She's very big reminders of what they did with Mickey James when they first introduced her, and she was being like, the big fan for Trish Stratus, and then she turned into this stalker and stuff. I can see them doing something similar to that. And then Niners, speaking of Niners, thank you for the 35 months resub. He said bang 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 gang for the Bull Club Gold. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Tony Storm winning that match. So again, Waffles also went with Tony Storm, and then Niners also went with Tony Storm. And then as a reminder, title matches are worth 2 points, and then our regular matches that we have on the card will only be worth 1 point. So we already have 4 points up for grabs because of the tag title match, and then the women's title match. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Tony Storm. I've been really enjoying her character. She's very over with the crowd. And the crowd went like ballistic when they showed her on the projector for her segment in the backstage. So I'm gonna go with Tony Storm again. Her character, very old school Hollywood. We're gonna be in LA. Might as well put the title on her. It does irritate me that Sheeta's just basically just been a transitional champion. Like I figured it would have been Saraya versus Tony Storm because they broke up the Walmart version of NWO, the Outcasts. It's just so they could do that little kind of feud. Didn't really eclipse anything. And so again, I'm gonna go with Tony Storm. I love Sheeta. Sheeta's like my favorite women's wrestler for AEW, but I gotta go with Tony Storm just because she has the momentum carrying on into Full Gear. Alrighty. So to the next match, again, it will be worth 1 point because we have a regular match here. Is that we got the Young Bucks versus the Golden Jets, aka Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Now, before I go into that. How we doing tonight? We're doing good. I know SmackDown and Collision are gonna be on soon, so I'm gonna be trying, or I'm gonna be watching Collision first because I'm on the West Coast, so SmackDown's not gonna be on for me until like 8 o'clock p.m. my time, so I can be able to watch both. So I'm literally gonna watch Collision, see how that show is, if it was actually worth going to, because I didn't go. I went to again. I had went to Dynamite, but we are doing well. Mm, We are doing well. But yeah, Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Young Bucks had a fantastic match on Dynamite against Penta and Commander. Ray Phoenix is injured, so we couldn't get a little rematch that they did last time that they were here in the San Bernardino area because they were right there in that area because that's the Young Bucks' hometown. And last time they were there back in, I believe it's 2021, they had a match on a Rampage versus the Lucha Brothers, and that was honestly probably my favorite match that I've ever seen live in general in wrestling, that's including to like whatever WWE matches I've seen. That tag match was probably arguably like the best match I've ever seen in person. And we got something similar to that. I know it was Commander filling in, but they had really good spots in there. I love the lucha style of wrestling and what they do. And Young Bucks are also really good. I know people want to like hate on them. They got booed a lot. There was actually some CM Punk chants in the crowd. I don't know if the TV audio had caught that, but yeah, it was a really good match. And then they basically turned heel because I forgot which Jackson it was. I believe it was Nick Jackson, and he kicked both of Commander and Penta in the lower regional area, um, and to pick up the win. Then they go backstage, and the feud that's been going on is that the Young Bucks have been acting very immature and childish. They're really annoyed that Kenny's been working with Chris Jericho. They don't like Chris Jericho because of their previous beef and all this other stuff from previous feuds, and they just don't like them working together. So the match going into this is if the Young Bucks win, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho can no longer tag team, or if Kenny and Jericho beat the Young Bucks have to give up their title shot that they had won at Wrestle Dream. Now, I'm gonna go into like a little bit of a rant here, as I am very disappointed of what they're doing right now with the tag division. I don't mind the Fatal 4-Way tag because that's going to be the next match that we'll be talking about. But you had FTR versus the Young Bucks 4 because they already had their third match was at All In. But you had FTR versus Young Bucks 4 right on the plate that you could have served right up on pay-per-view in Los Angeles. And I don't know why they didn't do that because again, because the FTR lost the tag titles to Ricky Starks and Big Bill, and they're doing this. And a lot of other people were pretty annoyed. I actually saw like some tweets. I don't know if, again, I can't confirm if it's real or if it's or if it is, fake, but some people were showing that they were a little disappointed that they couldn't see those matches at Full Gear, and one of the members of the Young Bucks had put out there it was either this match or not be on the card at Full Gear. So the fact that FTR and the Young Bucks weren't even on the discussion table to do at Full Gear is really annoying to me because that was like the one match. As soon as the Young Bucks won their match at Wrestle Dream, I was like, "Oh, dude, we're gonna get Young Bucks FTR in LA." And I was like really excited for that. And then of course FTR had lost. Like original thought it was just okay, Young Bucks versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and the Young Bucks win. But then they went with this angle, and they're doing another angle with the Elite breaking up, and then probably like a few months from now they're gonna get back together. I don't know. But I am going with the Young Bucks to win this because again, they just turned heel. They're gonna be heelish during this match. I kind of don't like seeing Kenny and Chris Jericho tag because Kenny has better things to do, to be honest. Like he could establish himself back into the world title picture again, try to climb up that ladder. Just like what they're doing with Hangman. Hangman is finally doing his own thing with Swerve Strickland and then whatever he'll be doing after that. But I have the Young Bucks winning. Hopefully they'll just get their tag title match either at World's End or some special AEW show. But I'm gonna go with the Young Bucks here because again they just fully turned heel. They're gonna do something heelish to to make sure that they win, then it'll make Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho still look strong on TV or pay-per-view, I mean. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Young Bucks winning that one. Next match, as I had previously mentioned before, was the Fatal Four-Way Tag. So we have FTR, House of Black, but it's Aleister Black and Brody King. I forgot what their tag team name was because I know they have a separate tag team name, and House of Black is all three of the members. But when it's just those two, they have their own name, and I completely forgot what their name is. And then you have Roosh and Juralistico versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill. It's a fatal four-way tag match. So you can make Ricky Starks and Big Bill still look strong even when if they lose the titles. Because I'm gonna go with FTR on this one. Because I really think that they're just gonna do FTR Young Bucks 4 down the line. Because again, I figured that's what they were already setting up anyways. Because again, at All In, they didn't shake hands. And then the next pay per view at All Out, they had to work together. And then they lost because they weren't working together. So then the Young Bucks win at Wrestle Dream. Boom. And then so we thought we were going to get at Full Gear. No. All right, so we're going to do it at a special Dynamite or even at World's End at the end of December. That's why I'm going to go with FTR. And again, you have teams that can take the pin. It's not going to make them look weak because, again, it's a fatal four-way tag match. I expect it to be really fast paced and just a lot of spots going down to go into that match. But again, I am going to go with FTR reclaiming their tag titles just so they can go on and face a heel Young Bucks because FTR is pretty much faces right now. So that's where I feel like that's the dynamic they're going to go with. Doesn't really make sense for Ricky Starks and Big Bill to that's a heel team to face the Young Bucks as a heel team, like heel versus heel. I don't see that happening unless if they're really gonna make Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho beat the Young Bucks. But my thinking, and I'm hoping this is what they're gonna do, is FTR wins as they are the faces, and then they'll lose to the young or yeah, they'll lose to the Young Bucks at whenever their next title defense is, which is probably going to be soon because again, heelish tactics from the Young Bucks. But yeah, or yeah, FTR. Waffles and Niners also chose FTR. They're gonna agree with me. Just to backtrack too, just because I forgot to say their picks that they also went with the Young Bucks. Now we got Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart versus Sky Blue for the TBS title. Um, I it's like I'm trying to figure out what the initial story is because this TBS title has been mainly featuring on Collision lately, And there's some times where I miss collision because I work on the weekends and I get off like right at 5. So then like as soon as I get home, I'm like doing my little routine when I get home. So I sometimes miss collision. So and then when I try to look at highlights, I don't see much of the TBS champion on the highlights on their YouTube channel. So I don't know what the general story is. I know Julia Hart and Bo Sky Blue are extremely over with the crowd, especially Julia Hart, because the crowd was really into her possibly winning at Wrestle Dream. So I can see Julia Hart winning. I think they are gonna pull the trigger on that one. That's why I'm gonna go with Julia Hart winning, just because she's been very over. What they could possibly do, I know Sky Blue, like Julie Hart did, did the miss spot with Sky Blue, and they were showing this little transformation of Sky Blue having like more gothic-esque makeup and stuff. And then I know they went with Sky Blue not being like a heel or whatever, but I can see, Julia Hart, having her magical powers or whatever and turn like flip the switch on Sky Blue, like, hey, my miss did work, so here you go. You're gonna take the pin from me. That's where I see Julia Hart winning. Chris Statlander could easily win this as well, but there's like nothing really for her to do. And it just feels like she's just going to be feuding on with the same people. She's probably gonna, if she retains, she's probably gonna go feud with Willow Nightingale again, or continue in some variation with Julia Hart or Sky Blue and so on, or whoever is in that little circle that they're doing right now for the TBS title. But I am gonna go with Julia Hart retaining. Now, the Waffles and Niners are gonna go with Chris Statlander on this one. So this one is, I believe, probably the first match that we disagreed on. Or no, we disagreed on, yeah, because Niners shows the guns. So there's that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Julia Hart. They're going with Chris Statlander. Now we got John Moxley versus Orange Cassidy 2 for the international title. Now here's the little issue, and this is what seems to happen whenever there's injuries. They Tony likes to scramble and then like quickly just try to put the belt onto someone else, and then it's usually someone that wasn't meant to win it. So then they have to scramble that and put the title belt on someone else, just so the person that lost the belt can try to regain it back, which is basically what we're seeing here. So Moxley had beat Orange Cassidy at All Out for the title, and then I believe it was Grand Slam that Arthur Ashe Stadium that Moxley got injured and got dealt with a concussion, very bad spots of where he got hurt, and he called an audible to end the match and just have Ray Phoenix win. Ray Phoenix wins the title, but he is also banged up, so now we gotta hurry up and scramble that. And then they just basically eventually put the title back on Orange Cassidy anyways, but I did like the story that they were telling with Orange Cassidy as soon as he lost the belt. Because again, he's the sloth style because he does the little slow kicks or is not hurting them, but the crowd reacts that it does. And then, but something that we saw in the John Moxley match at All Out is that he started to care. It's like, I've defended this title day in, day out, and I'm going to keep this title kind of thing. So as soon as he lost the title, he was like very depressed. He's like, oh, I'm not a champion anymore. Started teaming up with Hook, and Hook has the FTW championship. He was like, oh, I wish I had a title. I used to have one, but then I lost it, kind of thing. And then when he got the title back, he kind of very Gollum-esque from Lord of the Rings. Is like, oh, this is my precious, like, this is my title, and like no one's gonna take this belt away from me. I can see that being the story. I can see Orange Cassidy turning heel after this match because I'm gonna have John Moxley winning this, just so they can do what they were originally gonna do before Moxley had gotten hurt. Let's just have Moxley hold the title. I can see Orange Cassidy even winning this just so they're even at one win apiece, and then they have a third match. But I can see Moxley winning this. They had a fantastic, again, the two tag matches that were on the card on Dynamite on Wednesday was really good. And their match was really good. They fought in the crowd. I was right there near the fight too in the crowd. I was like, I think 3 rows back. So I was like really, really close to that. And during that match, like towards the end, Orange Cassidy tries to hit an orange punch on Moxley, and like Moxley completely no sells the punch. He's like like of oh that's all you got kind of thing, and then like Cassie's like oh like makes him like rethink. Like it really hurts his confidence. Like oh man, like he really wants the belt, and like am I gonna be able to stop this guy? But I'm gonna go with Moxley just so they can go back and try to revert to what they were originally gonna try to do when Moxley originally won the belt. So, and then after that, Cassidy's probably gonna turn heel. I can see Hook taking the beating or whatever. Like he's gonna try to comfort Orange Cassidy, and then you're gonna see Cassidy be like, "No, get away from me," kind of thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go with John Moxley winning this match. Alrighty, we got about one, two, 3 more matches to talk about, and then we can even go over the tiebreakers for what I have here. And then after that, we will rate out to someone that is live. But yeah, moving on. And this is probably the match that I'm most excited about. I'm also excited for the main event, which we'll get to with of Jim, MJF, and Jay White. But I am really excited for this one. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in a Texas death match. I'm super excited for this one. They had a face-to-face confrontation on Dynamite, and Hangman was doing most of the talking. Like Swerve didn't even get a word in, and then it just led to Hangman beating down Prince Nana. But their feud has been really good. I really enjoyed their Wrestle Dream match. That was probably match of the night. And then the feud continue on where they're just cutting promos on each other. Swerve Strickland broke into Hangman's house, cut a promo on his baby, and then put a Swerve Strickland shirt on the baby too. And that's where it just like made Hangman like basically snap like, hey, you like invaded my house. You were talking like you were near my kid where you could have harmed him, and then all this other stuff. I'm gonna go with Hangman winning this. As much as I would love Swerve to get another win, just to continue to push him, but I also want to see a third match happening here. But I can see Hangman winning this. Plus, it's a Texas Death Match. Someone had brought up like this stat that I had saw on Twitter that Hangman Adam Page in AEW in Texas Death Matches is that he is undefeated. So that's probably going to be the leading trend too, is to have them win. And then again, they have a third match, either at World's End or at like some other pay per view. But I'm going to go with Hangman because I do want to see a third match. I do think the Hangman is winning this. And again, I think Hangman is going to be cheered heavily in the LA crowd because the last time they were in LA, it was Hangman versus Moxley, and Hangman was like so over with the crowd. So I can see Hangman winning. And then Waffles and Niners also chose Hangman, so we are all agreed on that one. Now, I'm also really excited for this match too because I get to see Adam Copeland, aka Edge, for any of the WWE guys that do not want to call him Adam Copeland. I'm very excited because this is my first time going to be seeing Edge wrestle. I missed out on seeing Edge wrestle at WrestleMania. I was very sad that I didn't get to see him wrestle. So as soon as he had signed with AEW and AEW had announced that Full Gear was going to be in Los Angeles, I told my cousin that I usually watch these shows with, like, we're going to go to Full Gear and we're going to see if we can go to any of these other shows like the Dynamite Collision Rampage thing that are going to be beforehand to see if we can see Edge. I didn't get to see Edge. I was a little disappointed. And, but yeah, I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'm like really happy. I get to see Sting too, since Sting is basically on his little retirement tour. I'm very happy that I get to see him wrestle. I get to see Darby Allin wrestle. I get to see Christian Cage wrestle, since I've never got to see Christian Cage wrestle. So I'm like really giddy about this match because I get to see like Edge and Christian, who like I grew up watching when I started watching wrestling in like 2005. Or so I was like just to see those guys, my childhood, to where I'm at now. I'm like very happy. Again, Sting's like very old, getting up there in age, but the way that he's been able to get back into wrestling shape and still take care of himself, especially after his little injury with Seth Rollins in his match years ago, to be able to come back and do this little retirement tour. I'm very happy for that one. But yeah, it's Sting, Darby Allin, and Edge versus Christian and his two children, Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. Um, this match could honestly go either way, but this is Adam Copeland's first pay-per-view match, and I kind of don't want to see him lose because I'm like, out of that trio of Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland, who's going to realistically take the pin? If Adam Copeland takes the pin, it has to be from Christian. And now to look at that, you can even see Edge pin Christian. Luchasaurus can eat a pin. Same with Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne's basically been the job guy out of like, I'm gonna take a spear, I'm gonna just get beat up whenever we're going into brawls. So that's why I'm gonna lean more towards Sting, Darby, and Adam Copeland. Again, the only way that I see them losing is if it's Christian Cage pinning Adam Copeland. But it should be a really good match, and I can't wait to sing Adam Copeland's theme song in the crowd. But yeah, I'm gonna go with those guys. I like the feud that they're doing with just bouncing off more of going on with Wrestle Dream of Adam Copeland debuting, and he's like mm, helps out Sting and Darby, and then just their feud going on, like Adam Copeland's like story, like why he came back is like, his daughter wanted him to be here with Uncle Jay, aka Christian Cage, just so they can finish their careers together, so they can be together because they're lifelong friends. And Adam Copeland, I'm gonna try to say Adam Copeland more, so I don't get any heat, but the what he was trying to do is like that he wanted to go on one last tag team run with Christian Cage, which I honestly had thought in my head, and I had told people the only way that I would be cool with Edge going to AEW if he's going to finish his career with Christian. Because again, that's how he mostly started his career. That's, again, he was the big, tag team guy before he became a megastar singles guy. He was an excellent tag team guy with Christian, and I can see them doing one last run they could do, because again, Christian or Adam Copeland had said, take it from me because I have experience from it. The younger guys, getting all this knowledge from me. But once they were done getting all this knowledge from me, they turned their backs on they turned their backs on me and like beat me down, referencing Judgment Day. And then Christian Cage was like, "No, that's not gonna happen to me. I'm not gonna get beat down by this group or whatever." But I can totally see that happening. And so then that's where Adam Copeland steps in and helps Christian Cage. They turn faces and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Sting, Darby, and Adam Copeland winning this match. And Waffles and Niners also agree with me. Now, we got our last match on the card. Right now is our main event. Again, this is my official card because again, they haven't announced any other kind of matches that are going to happen. If they're going to do anything more on 0 hour, or if they're just going to throw any random other matches on there, like I figured they would have some other ROH matches on this card, but not. So this is the last match, the main event of Full Gear of MGF versus Jay White. Now, I unfortunately got to miss out on meeting MJF yesterday because he was doing a meet and greet at a collectible shop that's actually like right nearby, and I like know where it is. I took Rocky and Goofy and Cheetos there, and they've been doing a lot of other signings. Like the last time AEW was here, they had Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter doing a meet and greet. So then this time around, they got MJF. I was very disappointed that I couldn't go because I had to do other things around that time that he was doing his meet and greet and I couldn't make it. And I believe the shirt that he's wearing is going to be the California exclusive Better Than You Baby shirt that I really want that I didn't see at the merch stand when I went for Dynamite. So I'm hoping it's there because I already know what I want from the merch stand is that exclusive California Better Than You Baby and of course the pay-per-view shirt or some kind of piece of pay-per-view merch. So I've been really enjoying this story, and it's probably what AEW really needs to work on the most is having more stories go in for like other things that you're trying to do for other feuds here. Because I think as of like right now, is it's MGF and whatever he's doing is carrying AEW right now. I would even say the stuff that Sting, Darby, and Copeland are doing with Christian is also up there. And then same with like Hangman and Swerve, because I've really been enjoying that. But like other than that, um, it's not as interesting, I guess, to like compare to the other storylines that or like things that they're trying to set up. But like with MJF's case here, because it feels like he's not even just feuding with Jay White. He's feuding with like a bajillion other people. It's like you have Warlow, you have Samoa Joe, Kenny was in there in the mix for a bit and stuff. Um, but yeah, it just seems like he's like been the main guy to like connect stories together. And MJF is a really good storyteller. And again, I like the thing that he was like doing with that little thing that he did with the acclaimed. Because again, Adam Cole had told him it's okay to have more than one friend. And so then I believe it was last week that they did the 8-man tag. If it was MGF who still needed to find partners and versus, Bullet Club Gold. And then he was trying to like, I need to find these partners. And then he was like, maybe I could ask Samoa Joe. He like walked past by Darby Allin. He's like, nah, F that guy. The Acclaim were like, hey, tag with us. And then I forgot. Oh, Jeff Jarrett and gang were like, hey, why don't you choose us to fill in for that role? And then it turned out to be the Acclaimed, in which that was a really good match. And then their little spot that they did at the end of the match, where they did the scissor spot, that was really cool, very funny. Um, but this story alone, it was gonna go a different direction, but they didn't fully go into that because of current events going on in the world, and I'm not gonna discuss that because it's like not my field where I can actually talk about that. But they were going to go that certain direction, which still would have been a really good story what they were going to try to tell. But again, due to the outside world stuff that was going on, they were like, nah, let's just go this direction with that. And then you have the lingering story of this person with Max's devil mask that is attacking people. Like they attacked the Bullet Club Gold. They attacked the acclaimed last week and took him out, which I'm very sad because I was like, I really wanted to see the acclaimed again, but they're probably not going to be on the full gear card, which is very sad because I wanted to see them. Um, but yeah, the only thing that I'm really annoyed, and this is where I feel like it's very predictable that Jay White is losing because he stole the belt from Max, and he's just been carrying the belt around his waist everywhere that he goes, wherever appearance that he is, whether it's Dynamite, Collision, if he's ever on Rampage, he has the belt, and it just doesn't feel as authentic. Like per se, Jay White does win. It's not gonna really like, oh yeah, he won the belt already, but it's like he's already carrying it in a way. Like it's hard for me to like explain that. Like that's why I figured that he would have like gotten his belt back eventually, but they haven't. Like it's literally Jay White's gonna be walking into full gear with the title belt when he's not even the champion. And again, that's why I feel like MGF is gonna be retaining. And again, they had announced World End in Long Island, New York, in MJF's hometown. So I figured you have him walk in as champion and yeah, probably win or even lose because again, his whole contract is ending at the end of the year. I believe he said June 1st is like basically the end of his contract. So if he were to lose mm, there, and they would be okay because like, oh, because the title belt's gonna stay on AEW, or they could pull a Money in the Bank 2011. He wins and he runs out of the crowd, and he's gonna be a free agent with the belt, and he's gonna go everywhere with it, kind of thing. But we know he's probably already re-signed anyways. But I can see that being like a storyline that they could do. But he's a babyface, and that's more of a heelish tactic. But again, I'm gonna go with MJF winning this match. It should be a solid match. But again, just because of the factor that Jay White's been holding onto the title for like ever. mm, But that's why I see MJF winning. But yeah, that should be interesting. Um that for that Waffles and Niners also chose MJF. Alrighty. Let me scroll back up through my notes. Because again, we are officially confirming I can no longer change my answers. Waffles and Niners can no longer change their answers from here. I'm gonna go over all of our picks again, and then I'm gonna go over them like the three tiebreaker questions that will go into factor in case there is a tie. Again, championship matches are going to be 2 points, and then a regular non-title match is going to be worth 1 point. So again, the ROH tag title match between the Guns and MGF and probably Samoa Joe. Me and Waffles chose with MJF, while Niners went with the Guns. Hikaru Shida versus Timeless Tony Storm for the AEW Women's title. We all went with Tony Storm becoming the new champion. We got Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho versus the Young Bucks. Again, if the Young Bucks win, Kenny and Chris Jericho had to break up and no longer be a team. Um, if Kenny and Chris Jericho win, the Young Bucks lose their title shot and they gain that title shot. Again, all of us chose the Young Bucks. Then in the fatal four-way between FTR, House of Black, Rush and Drastico versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill, we went with FTR. Then Chris Statlander versus Julia versus Sky Blue for the TBS title. I am the only one that went with Julia Hart. Waffles and Niners went with Chris Statlander. John Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the international title. We all went with John Moxley. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in a Texas Death Match. We all went with Hangman. Sting, Sting, Darby Allin, and Edge. I was trying to speak fast. I was trying to do my best Excalibur impression of going through the match card. But Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage and his children. We all went with Sting, Darby Allin, and Adam Copeland winning that one. And then, of course, the main event of AEW Full Gear, MJF versus Jay White. And we all chose MJF. So there we go. It is official. None of us can change our answers. No one can change our answers. Now, for the tiebreakers, I got Orange Cassidy heel turn question mark. I went with yes, because if he loses the title, he's probably gonna snap, or something's gonna happen. Waffles and Niners said no. Um, I said for the next tiebreaker, will it be Roderick Strong to be MGF's partner, and not Samoa Joe? Niners and I agree and said no. Again, I still feel like it's going to be Samoa Joe. Waffles is the only one that said yes to it. I mean, that still kind of makes sense if it was Roderick Strong, because again, he's still within the storyline that they're trying to tell. Then the final question is, will we see who the devil is at Full Gear? Waffles said no. Niners and myself said yes. Do I know who the devil's going to be? No. A lot of people thought it was going to be Adam Cole. A lot of people still think it might be CM Punk for some reason. Um, some people threw out the name of Jungle Boy Jack Perry or just Jack Perry because of the recent spot that they did when they took out the Acclaimed with that glass spot. And that was like the main reason why him and CM Punk got at it at All In was because of a class spot. But yeah, I was gonna add another question because Tony Khan had announced that we will be seeing a signing go down at Full Gear that he signed this big wrestler. I forgot like the actual tweet, but he signed someone, and yeah, I was gonna add like who was that big signing. Some people are saying Will Ospreay. That it's not gonna be Will Ospreay because he's under contract still for New Japan and will still be under contract until February. The one that makes the most sense right now is Mercedes Moné because New Japan hasn't really done anything with her. So I don't know if her contract is up or whatever. I know she's been injured with her ankle, which unfortunately I saw the injury in person at the New Japan show in Long Beach, where she got hurt during the New Japan Strong's women's title match, and she had hurt her ankle. Um, there's like no other like possible free agents that like come to mind that could be signing with AEW. Um, but Fightful Select put out this tweet of Ronda Rousey making her debut wrestling at Revolver. I think that's the name of the wrestling promotion. And Ronda Rousey got at it with Athena, who is current Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and Tony owns Ring of Honor. So a lot of people are now speculating it could be Ronda Rousey, and I really hope it's not, because I'm not the biggest fan of Ronda Rousey. But I'm like, I don't know. But as of right now, I would probably maybe go with Mercedes Monet. Again, you had her on camera at All In and stuff, and so that could be possibly what they might do. But that's all I got for my predictions. So again, I do appreciate those that are listening that said anything in chat. I do have this recorded for YouTube, so I'm going to wrap this up right now for YouTube wise. Um, for YouTube, again, appreciate you guys. If you guys really enjoy the stuff, drop down your predictions on the comment section. Drop a like if you like what you guys have heard. But yeah, I will see you guys later on YouTube. So, say YouTube.